Hey,
Hello, how you doing?
yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Uh, Over the weekend, I had some time and I kept thinking about like my idea of I want to make a game tutorial, like a tutorial video for these 1 minute games, as simple as possible, just containing basically like the blender level, the lighting, the. But then I guess
Good.
I spent some time confirming my knowledge about baking lighting. Like there's when you bring a blender level into Godot, you have to like go into the Godot import and like check a box that's like something about like this is going to be a baked thing, and then it properly unwraps it for Godot's purposes. So that
Mm.
was like a bug for a while, but now that I've learned that, now I more than ever it's like okay, I have to make a video so I'll at least remember myself. But then I went back and forth about like how complicated do I want the blender level to be and what will I say in the video, and I just didn't really make any progress. And so I'm just kind of still going back and forth with like what uh what is going to come of that. Like I feel like I need some kind of video, and it should be one video and probably less than 10 minutes. Briefly I was considering like three separate videos, like the blender piece and the first person controller piece,
Mm-hmm.
cuz it's kind of it's like the I guess I always I want to make like as empty a level as possible with a first person controller, and then it's like okay, now you have a character in a world that's just like a flat floor. Now bring in like a level. That's sort of like the progression that I want.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a because there's so many little steps, and like the script uh the script is like written, and it has to be brought in. It just gets like messy very fast. And so then I start like thinking, okay, I'll like write out all the steps and then just brute force like make a video about every step, but then it's too much of like a work up front. So I can't piece together how I can just like make the making process of this video easy enough that it doesn't feel like a burden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah, maybe breaking it up into even if it's seems small,
Yeah.
it's like could be worth. I feel like there's one I remember there's one like tutorial series where it was something that was seemingly like so simple with Godot that the guy like split up into three parts, and I was like, yeah, by the end like I sort of understood why because he like it was like very beginner oriented and he wanted to like address like every little detail of using the editor, and um, yeah, it ends up becoming a lot of information. Yeah.
Yeah, with the when I think three parts, I always think it would be nice if, the end screen had those like video cards. And but then I think I don't want to get into the situation where I like publish the first part and then I start working on the second part, and then maybe I don't work on the second part, and then there's just like a video that points to nothing. So
Right.
then I thought it's like, well, then I should make all three videos and then publish all three together linked. But then it's like, well, if I'm doing that, I'll just stitch them together as three parts of one video. I could put chapters.
uh
So then it like
Exactly
evolves
yourself.
back into the same. Yeah, it's like the tightest package is just a video with chapters, and then there's no chance like people don't have to look up the next video, or there's no like there's one continuous video where like the environment is starts from scratch and goes to the end, and there's no like the video ends and the next one begins, and I've changed some setting that people can't follow or something.
Right. Yeah, and it's like if you made them separately, like you would maybe notice things in the first one, like as you're making the second, that you would want to change, and
Yeah.
that's tricky. That's your next
Yeah, so then I yeah.
thing to work on. You think it's the highest priority in terms of the game development stuff?
Yeah, I feel like that, yeah. And I keep going. I had this thought of like I almost want to make it more like abstract and weird, where the video, like, it could be a bit self-referential, where I'm like talking through some kind of meditation as I build the video. And so the video, like I was thinking, like, the first step, in some ways, like, is like clear your mind. And so I would have like a big white like rectangle in the 3D space that says like clear your mind on it. But I would also have a video, like, I would start by building that in Blender, but then also like, this was getting back to my like dual screen experience, like jam idea, where I would publish like the game I build in the tutorial on itch, and then you could watch you could watch the tutorial and play the game at the same time, and the game would be like a visual like walkthrough of the steps of the broad steps of the tutorial. Like, there'd be a Blender room that has art on the walls of like the mock-up of, as you're watching the video, you're sort of seeing screenshots from the video like in an art gallery, and then you walk down some stairs, and that's like the import into Godot, and I could like visually indicate that in some way in the game. But then that's like scope creep to the point where it's too, like, unless I could think of a way of doing that, that that's like even simpler, I guess. Because I built one level in Blender where there was like a square room in the center and then 2 doors on either side, and I built the doors in such a way where you could like press a button to, like, I never wired it up, but like you could press a button to open the door, and then when you walk through the door, you hit like an invisible area that closes the door behind you, and then you hit another area that opens the next door. And that way, like, I built like one model in Blender that could be like infinitely copy pasted, and the way that the rooms would like stitch up, you'd always be able to like press a button to exit the room, and then the door would automatically open for the next room, and it would work like that in reverse too. So I thought, but then that became like just a bit too many like objects almost. I then thought maybe I should design like this ends up just kind of being the door problem, actually, where I was like, I just want like a really simple level with a door indicating that you could then make another room, and this is and then I have to show people how to make a door. But then with doors, like, if the door is not open, you want to like collide with it. And if you press a button or you hit a zone and the door opens, then the question is like, when will the door close? And even if you enter the other room and you press a button to close the door, you don't want the player to like run under the door and then encounter like a physics glitch when the door like closes on them. So then you sort of need like a second invisible physics barrier that instantly like appears. Like, when it's time for the door to close, the space that the door takes up like has a physics barrier appear, and then the door closes, so that when the door is closing, there's no chance of getting like hit by it. But then that adds like complex. Yeah. So then that one piece of complexity, though, it's like in my tutorial, I'll just be like, here's a simple room with a door. Oh, and by the way, make like a second door, because later we're gonna make that a physics collider, and then we're gonna like wire that up and make it appear at the right time. And
it's like already,
it's sort of like it's just like, do I have to invent? Like, do I have to, like, I think this is a known problem of like doors are complicated. So then, but like explicitly, it's sort of like I want to give the learner the knowledge of how to do at least one kind of door, because that's like a simple interaction thing that's kind of straightforward, but turns out to be kind of, it's like the tutorial could be all about doors unless I just accept, that like there'll be these rough corners.
Right. Yeah.
Because then the other thing is like, you could, like, knowing the player can't move that fast, you could make a hallway, and like when they get to a certain point in the hallway, it triggers the door to close. But then you have to have a hallway built around every door that's like a certain size. So there's these like unspoken constraints where like this kind of door kind of glitches out if it's closing when you're too close or something.
Right.
And so these are interesting, but it's funny because I would actually enjoy making a video where I just like start out, we're going to make a simple 3D game and then get into the weeds of these like weird, like just start rambling and showing like way too much info just to make like a simple door. And just have that be like part of it, like just completely info dump, like way too much info about a single door thing. And then just like, do like 5 minutes of that and then, and like have a chapter to skip it and just be like, or like don't build a door or just build one and have it glitch or something.
Yeah, that'd be funny. And I think like a nod to the fact of like game development being potentially incredibly complex in ways that is hard to expect, and
Yeah.
that's just kind of how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, because shaping the tone of the video that way allows me to just make whatever video I can manage in like a couple hours, and all the problems with the video would be very like authentic game dev experience.
Right.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds.
And I guess the other thing too is,
lower.
lowering the effort is an important goal for this. The other friction I notice is like recording audio. Like when I think it'll be simple. I'll just like record some audio clips, throw them in the game. But there's always like this hesitation of like, oh, I'll need to like make sure the audio's recorded well and write out like a short little script to get my lines, and then I might as well shape them so that they seemingly like mean more things. And then that quickly becomes something where it's like I'm never gonna switch on the mic and open Audacity and record something and get around to that. It's like too much effort all at once.
Mm-hmm.
So then, it's almost, I'd have to like almost like prove a point by recording like low quality audio just to get myself to do it and to prove to the viewers like it's not a big formal thing to like record audio. You can just go ahead and
it's not. You don't need like if you just have $20 mic, or even just your like whatever your laptop has or phone, like it's probably fine.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I feel like what I'll end up doing is a video, like, because in theory the concept of this video is like very straightforward, and it is like supposed to be the simplest kind of game that I could make, which I've made before, and it should be easy. But the video could almost be about like how weirdly hard that is. Like I was thinking, like almost I pictured like the first screen of the video is like the empty Blender void, and then like a voice kind of saying like here you are, like back here again, like wondering why you're here. Like it's almost like a voice talking to the person that is once again in Blender on the verge of creating something but not creating something, and thinking they want to build something but then not achieving it. And that is probably the viewer as well, as like here we are watching another like game dev tutorial that you maybe won't follow or will follow. And it's like it would be like a meditation on like why we sort of believe we want to do these things, and then when it comes time we don't like execute on them. And it would sort of be like fun to just like talk through that experience while building the game. And ideally resonate. Yeah, it's funny. It's almost like freestyle in a way, because it's like, can I start making this game assuming that like this concept is going to work, like, this meta concept of questioning why I'm doing this as I'm doing it as a way to get myself to do it. But then it would be awesome if like there was like a little bit of a philosophical conclusion, like how does, what room does the game end in? What's the final question? How does it all come together? I don't want to sort of like, if I map that out, maybe I can do a decent job, but then it's just the standard problem of now I have to make the thing I just designed. But if I just start doing it, like having the confidence that I'll figure something out in the end, then it's more like freestyle where, you just start making stuff, and then, when the time comes to think of an ending, do the best we can and it's going to be fine, or it's not, nothing's going to be mind blowing, but it's going to be like, it's going to work when the time comes with the constraints, and just don't try to like plan the whole thing out in advance.
Right. Yeah, I think it would be
Well,
really
yeah.
interesting to see
Uh,
like where that process takes you, and like as a someone experiencing that, I think it would be interesting to sort of follow along with your thought process, like as while playing the game, I guess. And it's
yeah.
also very low activation energy just to get started.
Yeah, that's what I like, is almost like tricking myself into starting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun to
Yeah.
think like if I pretended like I'm over the radio and I'm like giving, like someone else is the developer using Blender, using Godot, and I'm just like a voice like commanding them, like telling them what to do next. Then like it's like then my job as recording the audio, like the script writes itself. It's just like open this, do this, whatever. Like I just say what I want myself to do, and then that can be almost like that's the theme of it, is some kind of like a game dev is being commanded by some other thing, some
Yeah.
unknown person. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Like, yeah, it reminds me a little bit of like, I've stopped doing this, but like when I was doing chess streaming for a bit, just like when I could get in a flow of just talking about my thought process out loud, it was like
Oh yeah.
it became like less like to start it was kind of uh like I was putting
More
in like
choppy.
extra effort to like try to make my thoughts clear,
Right.
um and like communicate them clearly, so it was probably detracting from my like level of play like a little bit because it's just like extra processing. But when I got more used to it, it felt like it was like almost helpful in terms of for slower time controls, at least, where I could sort of it was like this separate, still like a separate process, but that would just kind of like uh reinforce what I was doing. Like it's like pair programming almost with yourself. um so yeah, I don't know, I think there's something to that of like the process of vocalizing. I think is kind of powerful, where you when you like say it out loud, it becomes more tangible. um and I think it can interrupt your thought process a little bit in good ways sometimes, or like yeah, just give you something to like stick to. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, I'm excited to see where that leads you.
Yeah, yeah, I keep brainstorming like different approaches to try to figure out the easiest angle to like get into it. Another one is like it's fun to just like open up Blender and almost try to just like meditate with nothing, or put like a single like floor and a cube and a light, and then that's like the simplicity of that is like amazing kind of, and
Mm-hmm.
then like try to bring that to the video where like every step of the tutorial is like a place where you pause and just like reflect on the current state of whatever. Because that's something that I feel very pleasing, is like whenever I just take like a cube and a floor and a light in Blender, it just like looks good like right away. And then I always think like I want to like bring attention to that almost somehow, in a way that brings like value. Uh, and I often like, it's not enough to be a game though. That's the thing, is like if you just put that in a game, there you need to sort of like prime the player and frame them to like have this experience of just like a room with nothing but like a cube and a light.
Yeah, yeah,
But it would be sort of nice to like start with just that minimal scene in Blender and make people feel like that's already an accomplishment, just like being in the presence of that, and then just add like the character controller as like make every step feel like incredibly weighted and valuable, and
Mhm.
like uh and then it's sort of exciting because it's not just like once again adding the character controller. It would be more like a meditation on what it means to bring something into this world that can like walk around and explore,
Right.
but try to do it in like as few words as possible. Like just have like good music showing all the little checkboxes and stuff, and then a couple of sentences of like what once you get the walking controller in there, like say like what does it mean to explore like this world, have like an agent in this world or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds very nice. I think it's like trying to get at like uh, what make I was thinking about this uh, earlier today about like what makes art feel transcendent to me, and like what are the ingredients there that like remind me I'm alive, or like or like just speak to like something deeper, and it's like I feel like there's always like there's different things happening, but it's like it could be core feelings going on, but often it's like the combining of like multiple senses, where I think like yeah, like having like audio and visual, and like in the case of games, like I don't know exactly, like something with your um experiential, like having everything sort of like lined up to communicate something that's usually more singular. Um, so
Mhm.
like I don't know, one of the more recent experiences I had. Have you seen the movie Sinners with the
No, but
vampire
I heard a lot about it, and I almost watched it one night, but it felt like too intense. I'm just like waiting until
ballad?
I can manage it. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's so long and stuff.
right. Yeah, totally. Well, yeah, I won't spoil anything, but yeah, there was one scene in that like got me in that way, where I was like, yeah, where it just everything sort of lined up perfectly,
Yeah,
and
do you
then
actually want to? Because I think you mentioned that before, and
oh, I am.
someone like I've listened to reviews of this movie too, so I know a lot of parts. Maybe you
Okay.
should just like spoil it. Yeah, we could. If
Okay.
anyone's listening to this, we could say spoilers. But I'd be interested in you just breaking down that scene, because sometimes, like, I'll never get around to watching this movie. But if you just like explain it all in detail, it'll be worth like. Then I'll know. Then I'll be on the lookout for it, and if when I eventually watch it, I feel like I'll get. It'll be still worth seeing it actually, and then I just like hearing like a lot of information about stuff before I go into it sometimes.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, I will do my best to. It's like one of those things. Like, no description will do it justice. But it for me, like, so it's a scene. It's sort of it's foreshadowed from like the very opening of the movie, that where the opening does just like a little bit of exposition about like the fact of like like there are people like across time and culture that are like basically I forget like the words or that they use, but basically like muses, like their music,
Yeah.
sort of transcends and can uh, like touch uh, like spiritual energies, and like transcend the human plane of existence type of thing.
It's funny
Uh,
when what's funny, I'll just interrupt for a second,
yeah.
is that like I watch the trailers for these movies, and then but every trailer of every movie is like a bunch of action sequences and like two characters talking. I don't know who either character is, because it's just a trailer.
Yeah.
And like they always give you all the slices, and then so I'm left with like, it's like, well, if that's what the movie is, then I don't understand what it is. Like it's just like it's like I don't. It's a
Right.
movie where a bunch of characters talk and this guy gets shot, and that's interesting, but I don't know, And then it's like I'm not sure if I want to watch like that trailer essentially for 2 hours. But then, then I always realize, like, of course the movie's gonna start by meeting the audience where they are and giving like an intro that gives the audience like a frame of reference that they're going to understand the rest of the movie through, and then they'll enjoy it. But I feel like that's what's missing. Like already hearing you explain it, it's like, oh, of course, like the movie is going to because I kind of knew there was something to do with music and stuff like that and time in the movie, but I just assumed like it's just going to start, no explanation, and I'll piece it together like after the movie. But I feel already like, oh yeah, if they introduce that well, then I would be invested. It's sort of like, it's funny because it's like, why isn't every trailer just like the first opening of the movie, and then after I'm done the trailer, it's like, well, I was just introduced to the movie, I'll go watch it now, might as well. It's weird. Like I feel like if they just opened the movie, like if they had a very simple trailer where it's like, there are people that are muses that exist throughout time, and it's just like very like subtle scene or like ambiguous photography, and then a couple of action shots, and then it's like, okay, there's the premise, like I'll go learn about this for like 2 hours. Right. I find somehow I find trailers and game, I guess this is maybe could be specific to me, but like games and movies trailers, they're always like all the action, all the complexity, like even that game we shared today, like the Goobers game or whatever, it was sort of like a Vampire Survivors. Like the one screenshot kind of that I've seen of that game, like the art looks good, but it's like, oh, there's a ton of enemies and you're running away from all of them. But I'm sure like the game starts with only a few enemies, and that's like, that is what I'd be interested in. Like if they just showed me a trailer of like, look, the game is starting, there's one enemy, you shoot them, now there's a few and you shoot them. Like I would be like, I could get on board with that, and let's see how many there can be. But if they show me like the complete chaos, I always just assume, well, the first, I'm going to launch the game and it's going to be chaos, or start the movie, it's going to be chaos. But yeah, so
I think that's a great point. It's like, maybe, I feel like the trailers for movies and game, like everything is like, it is like, maybe this kind of worked better like before the internet or something, like in like the 1980s, where it's like, oh my goodness, like can you believe that, but it's like we're already like, everybody who would be viewing a trailer for a game is already like overstimulated. It's like we know that like you can put a lot on screen, like it's not gonna like break our brains that this exists in the same way. It's just like, I feel like the far more power. It's like all these trailers that like don't have like gameplay. Like it's like what's the point of that? Like I don't even know like what this is gonna be then. Like I want as much of like, what is this experience gonna be like? Like let that be enticing.
Because it's sort of it's like, just tell me what to expect in terms of what am I going to be like doing during the game, and I'm sure it'll be fun. But they're like, oh, it's going to be so fun, and you're like, well, like I'm just trying to like logistically prepare myself for like the experience, and they're just like hyping me up and showing me all this stuff, and it's like, just tell me what the controls are. Like I'm dreading launching the game and learning the controls. Just have the hype, like tell me what the controls are, then I'll already know, and they'll be like, well, I already know what the controls are, so let's just play the game. Right. Like get the tutorial out of the way in the trailer, and then I'll just show up and play, instead of like knowing that like, oh, it looks like a really fun game, too bad I have to invest like time learning how to like launch it and what the story is and the opening cutscene and the tutorial. Like just front load all that, and then I'll just jump in when I'm. But because it's funny, like I'm gonna, now it's like I'm gonna, like, this is why this is good that you're gonna explain it, is because then I'll just go into the movie, I'll already know, like then I can sort of take it easy, like get like they'll recount the what's going to happen for me, and then I'll get hit with it twice instead of like from scratch. I have to be like oriented and disoriented and like learn that character's name. Like, what is that the main character? Sort of like, what are they doing now? And then you're like, I'm sort of like missing it by computing like as I go. But it's fun to just have like, just know like what's the thing going to be like so that you can focus on like the details is how I feel that way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I feel as similar. I guess yeah, it depends on maybe the media I'm consuming, or like yeah, sometimes it's like I very much am like I want to know like as much as possible going into it. Sometimes I'm like just let things, surprise me and I probably won't understand it and I'll rewatch it later or something.
Yeah, I wonder. Sometimes I wonder if next time we encounter an experience that is best had with no explanation, I wonder what that will be. Because sometimes it's always like the sequel to a game. It's like I'll go into an experience that like if it's like it's this genre, it's one of these, no further explanation needed. Like then I already kind of do understand what it's gonna be because I sort of know that I've played similar things, and so it's always like yeah, it's like we're primed without realizing it. But I just feel sometimes I'm just like not primed. Like I'm very conscious I'm not primed for something, and
right. And then it becomes
yeah, it's like
harder
I'm
to
yeah, I
engage with
sort
it.
of. But then yeah, it's weird when there's like the spoiler stuff because for me it's like I need to be primed, and the best way to like do that is just like go full on spoiler, and then I'll feel like familiar enough where I'll like go into the movie looking for a certain thing, and then probably
Totally.
just have it delivered. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way with certain things. I'm like, I would rather this be spoiled and then I'll have more chance of checking it out, if anything. Um,
Yeah.
but
But
yeah,
yeah, sorry to
anyway.
interrupt interrupt with all
No, no,
that.
good tangent. Yeah, so I feel like from the first, those first couple minutes, you're already like, okay, like I wonder what that music is gonna sound like, like that. I feel like that thought's like put in your head of like there's gonna be some really good music later, and like by the time it comes around, it's like halfway through the movie or whatever, and you like I feel like at least for me, it's like I'd kind of forgotten about that setup, but then you're like, oh, it's happening, and then yeah, the it happens. Yeah, the setting, like the theme, it's like a really cool movie. Like it's like it has like vampires. It's set in the South and like I want to say like early 1900s, like in the Jim Crow South, and
Yeah.
um, it's like Michael B. Jordan, who is like real good, plays these twins, and yeah. So in the themes, I think are like it's like complicated, but I think it gets into like colonialism and like um, I don't know, like it's got a lot of depth. It's a real thinker, but there's see, it's like this kid who's like kind of the main character. Um, you've like heard him like already sing like once or twice before, and he's like real good. Like he has like a really nice voice, and he plays the guitar and or banjo or I'm not sure, some stringed instrument, and then the it's all kind of been leading. It's like a certain climax of like they've this whole day they've been trying to set up this place for like the people in this town to like gather and like have a party. And it's this place, like I had never heard this word before, but it's called like a juke joint. And like yeah, basically it's just like a club for like people to dance and play music and drink and let off steam. And uh, then yeah, they there's like some different musicians, but then they get this kid to play, and he starts singing this song, and like it's just like it's a beautifully shot movie, but like, my God, like it like the song, like you like you feel it happening, like it just the pacing is like so perfect where it sort of crescendos you and it everything starts to change like to this point in the movie, like you've seen there hasn't been like any like vampire carnage yet, but you've seen vampires, like there's like some surreal supernatural stuff happening, but you like the song begins to change and like take on these forms that are kind of impossible, like given the instruments that are
Oh.
available,
Yeah.
and it like and then it starts to take on like different eras of music, and like and then you see like people begin to like appear that are from out of time, and like there's people like in like full like a funk like outfit and like hip hop dancers, and like it just like it just goes wild and like the ancestors of like it's like the ancestors and the descendants of the people in this room like begin to appear and you're like, oh my God, like it's just like music as connecting across like entire
Oh yeah.
lineages, um and the whole thing like starts to burn down and like deconstruct, and the music is incredible, like it's just like I've played that song on repeat many times, but it's like it alone I think wouldn't it like needs all the elements to like create that moment of like the core like the core sense is the music, but then this surreal uh scene of like um like time sort of being compressed and stretched out, and like yeah, and then the story like to this point, like it all lends itself to like this feeling, and it's just like, well, I don't think I've seen anything better than that in my life, like it like is yeah, and I feel like with like everything I want to create, I'm like, if I can practice and get good enough to create anything that comes near that, like I would be happy. Uh, just
Yeah.
like yeah, such artistry. um, and that's
That
not the
is really
only
interesting.
amazing moment, but the
Right.
certainly for me was the peak.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, because I feel that's such a powerful analogy, it sounds like, too, for just like, I guess, music and all kinds of art and what they do. Like, that is, like music does capture like the feeling of a generation and inspire the next and then call back to like previous. And something about music is very like resonant with like the human like dancing and music, and resonance, like that's very like physical and tangible, but then like I guess, as it's like an analogy for other art forms as well, have like video and I don't know, paintings and stuff have like a similar ability. But yeah, something about like, because it's like the human voice and it's expressive and it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, calling it, I feel like that music is like a powerful medium to choose for like this analogy. And it's kind of amazing. Like, imagine if like if you were like the director or the writer of this movie and you're like explaining to like a table of like composers and filmographers like this idea
Yeah.
of like this song is just gonna blow people's minds, and the composer's like, yeah, I could probably come up with something, a couple
Yeah.
ideas, and then it's actually crazy though that like this film does exist, and there was at some point like a room full of people that created this idea and then executed on it. Like it's insane that there's people out there that have such a good handle on like what are the genres of music and how and costuming and everything and pacing,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
someone just like embeds that, and the fact that it's like embedded in the center of a larger movie. uh yeah, it's crazy that there's that people can cooperate on that level, like, because even then, yeah, even the movie itself is not even saying that like this is a singular good song. It's like the song is good because of the connection that it's making, and like
Mhm.
that could never have been planned. Like hundreds of years of generations of humans didn't like plan to have this progression through genres and things. It just happened because of this, like as if someone was time traveling or warping, but it's like it's hard to believe it happened without any sort of time travel. Like people just listened to the previous art and then made their own and kept going or something, and that like gave way to like progress, or like created progress. And uh
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
wonder, I always,
Incredible.
it's very it's interesting though that it's like that, like this is like, like a well-funded, I imagine, movie with like professional actors and like the best writers, and like it's set on like, shown in theaters and everything. And then like and so it's like it has no reason not to be good. Like it required like an extreme talent and like execution and everything, but then it had everything behind it. Then I wonder sometimes though, like like you see that Inside special, like that, whatever that guy's name is, he did that like Inside Netflix special. It's like,
Bo Burnham.
yeah, Boner. It's like, yeah, different. I guess a totally different thing to some extent, but like he seemingly did a lot himself, and
Mm-hmm.
with, but then he did have like some training, some equipment. Then there is like individual game devs that make like games that seemingly like really change, or, like create new genres. But then I
Right.
wonder, I'm fascinated by like keep scaling it back to uh like what's the simplest. Like I really like sometimes like minimalist art where it's just like a couple of shapes. I feel like it would be so cool to see something really prove that like a very resonant message could be had just with like a couple of shapes on a canvas or something. But it's
Yeah.
almost like but it is true that like those silent static shapes on a canvas, they can't ever like literally be like a dance hall full of people. It's like too, but then like in one's head, like we could see shapes on a canvas that make like a callback to, like it's almost like now that if we've seen this movie Sinners and we've heard the music, then if we translate that emotion into a static image of shapes, then because we have like the art, we have the knowledge of the film in us, uh, a single static image could pull that out of us again. And you could, over time, you could like work, you could show people like stills from the movie or whatever, then reduce it to like basic shapes, and you could sort of like work people along until you show them like a single shape, and that evokes like the same emotion just because it's a callback that they've been trained to like go off of.
Right. Yeah,
But
it's like
that's kind of
tapping
interesting.
into
Yeah.
existing it's like, human uh thought and memory is like infinitely complex compared to like anything we could render uh
Mm.
on a screen, but we can tap into that, like uh, especially like shared experiences. 'Cause it's like,
Mm.
yeah, like when something like really touches, it's like when a pop song like really hits, it's like because it resonates with like millions upon millions of people, even if it's like maybe describing something somewhat personal from the songwriter. It's
Mm.
like uh yeah, just in like a couple lines like sung uh with the right emotions behind it, it can like in 8 seconds, resonate. uh and yeah, so it's like, yeah, is it possible to do that in a very minimalist game? I guess. I think so. I think it's an interesting challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess because yeah, uh, it's probably impossible to do it for like everyone without knowing anything about the audience through any moment. Like, but it's like yeah, if we keep like specifying uh like the English, maybe yeah, if we just zero into like the English speaking world who plays games on itch, and like
Mm.
what do they know about games and what are they expecting, like they're already like they're there on itch playing like a 1 minute random game, so what does that mean they know about games and like controls, and it's like this time in his like these kind of world events are happening, and so, most people know about them, so then you already have like a bunch of like categories and stuff that you can sort of like work
Yeah.
off of, and then
Yeah, like
yeah, then it would be yeah
lose control or like yeah, have a simple just as like
yeah
a
like
random
certain
example.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like with the yeah like cozy games and stuff, you could have a certain color palette with certain shapes, and then you make a game where like people just like they either like feel the game is nostalgic or they really like playing it or being in the simple short world that the game has, and they don't quite know why, but it's like it is just like a call, like it's some of the sounds and some of the colors, they're evoking like popular media that these people and us would be aware of.
Mhm.
And then yeah, then it would just be like either a pleasing or a scary or something like space to be in. It would invoke like some kind of emotional response by yeah like hinting at things that everyone's like familiar with generally, but they wouldn't exactly piece together why the game is like making them feel that way or something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah. Maybe that's like why there's like so many like horror games, like indie horror games that are like kind of small. It's just
Yeah.
like it's like a little easier to like evoke a feeling with uh if you only have like a minute. It's like easier to evoke a feeling using horror than anything else. Like it's like hard to like make someone feel how like cozy games make like make people feel cozy, I guess. Like with the Stardew Valley or something, like you can't really do that in a minute. Like it just takes longer, I think.
That is a funny idea though, that like yeah, 1 minute horror game being like it is the easiest emotion to sort of invoke, maybe is just some off-putting like horror or something. But then yeah, if you imagine like we do have like a 1 minute cozy game somewhere, you could make like a 3 minute game that is like first it tells you some jokes and makes you feel like happy and relaxed, and then it does like a horror segment, and then it does like a cozy segment, and that would
Uh-huh.
be interesting because that game could be like 3 minutes long and have three different like emotional hits in different directions, and I feel like that would be, you could imagine like 5 minute games where every minute is like happiness, sadness, horror, uh like zen, and then just do it like one could do the best job they can of pushing the bounds like on each of them, but then by the end of the game you've done almost like this 5 minute meditation where each minute is like a different, like stressing a different emotional response or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fun idea. I like that. And you could, yeah, sort of like, yeah, I don't know if the on the
Mm-hmm.
like meta level of like hinting at what's happening of like now it's time to be scared and like see what that feels like and like how does that like
Yeah.
how did your body respond to that like yeah
Yeah,
just
I
sort
like
of
those transitional moments. Like I don't know if there's ever been like there's those like Doki Doki Literature Club, I guess.
uh-huh
And I just sort of heard about that like secondhand.
yeah
But
same
those moments are fascinating where like something is upbeat and like comedic. Like I feel like there's never been like a comedy horror film that goes hard on both of them, because like you start the film, it's a comedy film, and then it like pivots in the middle. Uh Maybe the closest I've seen
Yeah.
is like Quentin Tarantino films. Like
Uh,
they always have this moment where it goes to like insane violence, like
right.
pivoting. Uh and so those ones are interesting. It's sort of like the movie has bring up certain conventions about like how much violence is happening to the characters, and then there's a moment where like it crosses a threshold where you're like, okay, there's no floor anymore of like the level of violence.
Yeah.
And just the way that like you like, especially though if something was like comedy, how do you communicate to the audience like we've descended past like funny violence, we're now in like a serious horror violence, like it, because how would you like it's so interesting to think about making that pivot where like things are all funny and joking, and so like everyone, like in the spirit of humor, nothing can really like, even devastating things are funny. But then if you sort of have to communicate some way of crossing that threshold where we're in the scary horror, like it would be, it's tough for a human's emotions to even make that switch uh
Yeah.
like cleanly. Yeah.
I'm reminded of like yeah, I don't really I've tried to push myself a little bit to like watch a little more horror because I think I do get a lot out of it, but I am a scaredy cat for the most part, so it's
Mhm.
difficult. But
Yeah, I think
I
me too.
yeah I uh I vaguely remember. Have you listened to Something Rotten with Jacob Geller and Blake Hester?
No, I
Talking about
guess I should check out a few episodes. I never
it's good.
think
Yeah,
about
I'm a big
watching.
fan. I'm not sure if they're like doing it anymore, or I guess they
Oh yeah.
said they were continuing, but they've slowed down a lot. But yeah, I think it might be my favorite podcast. It's good stuff. But there's one like Blake in particular like has a very extensive knowledge of horror movies, and like even like some of his descriptions of these things like I have to skip over because I'm like just like hearing it is like too much for me. But there was one he described that I thought was such a cool idea where I hope I'm not messing it up, but the basic thing was like it's like this movie where like some like I don't know, clown serial killer or something like is committing these murders, but it's like it's played as a comedy, like where you're like at the start you're like truly not meant to feel bad about these people dying, like maybe they I don't know, they're like not they're portrayed as villains, or like it's it's clearly like it's like cartoonish
Yeah.
violence and you're just kind of like this is funny.
Hmm.
um and then like as it progresses, like it's like 6 out of I think you described it as like 6 out of 7 it's like you sort of were like this is just cartoonish and like whatever. And then like one of the murders is not that, and does not is very unpleasant to watch. And it's like the way is like, oh, like that where it makes you feel bad, and then you feel bad about laughing at all the other ones. And it's like, oh, that's so
Yeah.
brilliant. This just the subversion of like like,
Yeah.
well, you laughed at that
Actually,
last guy
that's very
dying.
interesting, because
Yeah,
then you feel like you either have to feel guilty for laughing at the others or dismiss the one that feels serious.
right, right.
And that's like a real thing that we do, where like there's these wars going on that we sort of just are news items, and then we're like, oh, they're still going on and they're really bad, and then we feel like, well, we've been ignoring it for like years now, and so then you have to start like convince yourself it's not as bad as you think, just to prevent yourself from feeling terrible that didn't do anything for like years at a time.
Yeah, totally.
And
Yeah, the
this movie,
self-flagellation.
this movie's like a
Yeah.
parallel for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's not the exact same thing, but yeah, I thought it was interesting. Like somewhat of a genre shift. I guess it's just pure horror in the end, but or that's the
Nathan
dominant.
Fielder did a similar thing with clowns. There's like a scene in the rehearsal where Nathan Fielder has hired like an actor to be a clown, and the clown is like pressed on the like his leg is trapped under his clown van, and he's like
Oh yeah.
he's like yeah, if you've seen that.
Yeah.
And but then there's he's hired like other actors to like laugh. So it turns out everyone's like an actor, but yeah, it's like
Right.
this moment of like, oh, the clown's doing a bit, he's not really hurt or whatever. And then the longer he goes on, you're like, okay, he's actually trapped. It's just like a dude that's trapped under a car.
Yeah.
But then the transition of like, yeah, it's like hard to bring yourself to be like, okay, we're taking this like seriously now. So there's gonna be like a hard emotional break where we're no longer like joking around. This guy, like, it's like it's as serious as anything. But it's like
Yeah.
hard to make that. Yeah, it's like mentally difficult to make that transition.
Yeah. Yeah. And even that, it's like it's still funny because you're like, it's like we as an audience are like at a distance to it, where we're like, yeah, like he's describing this thing that is kind of funny that like we do, like we're not as implicated as viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like isn't like humor is our reaction to like extremely upsetting stuff sometimes. It's like our way of it's like a coping mechanism, I think. A common coping mechanism is to like experience humor as a way of lightening the burden of something.
Yeah, totally.
And so then so it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been, I've been having a weird couple of months. Where just like I've never had a period of my life like this where it's just like tragic thing after tragic thing keeps happening. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I've I have like tried to find. It's like hard to find humor in it, but it is like helpful when it's just like like those moments. It does feel like a little healing too, where you're just like, okay, like such is life, like stuff just yeah, it's how it goes, and like being able to like laugh with like people that like also care, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's like when it's like something like horrible is happening. It's like who I'm laughing with like matters a lot. Where I'm like, oh, like I know that like you see that this thing is happening that's like objectively horrible or whatever, and like we can like both still laugh about it. You know what I mean? Whereas like if someone like it's like I don't have that mutual understanding, then it's like that it kind of doesn't work.
I guess that's kind of what's going on in like a haunted house. People are going through the group of friends and like scary stuff will happen, and then like right after it's really funny because people can't control their reactions, and like they know they're not in harm, but then they're just like kind of scared but also laughing to blow off like the stress or something.
Yeah. It's like a
that would be a
old version.
it would be funny to have a movie like a serious horror film where there's like aliens or deities or like monsters like haunting these people, but like the main characters like can't stop like laughing it off as like because it would be like just like I guess as if two friends were like on a trip and something scary happens and they're sort of like they know it's not like a paranormal phenomenon because it like for them in the movie they're in like reality where like that stuff is not like ghosts are not real, So then they would sort of be like, that really looks like a ghost, and they would sort of be like joking and laughing, be like, what is it? Like what, you know? And so it would be like a comedy movie where like it's got everything is happening like a horror movie, but the main characters are kind of like in comedic disbelief that like how is this stuff like happening or in the way that
It just continues like the whole movie.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah
yeah, that's good. It's a good concept because I
because I
feel like
always yeah
that's the
I'm
start
always
sometimes.
fascinated or what were you
I feel
saying
like that's the start sometimes, but then it like you
like
know
yeah
it never stays that way.
yeah it's interesting like the yeah it's like funny, then someone gets like mildly hurt or something gets pushed, a boundary gets pushed a bit too far, and they're like, oh, this is like a real monster or something. uh but then I always still, that's my main wonder in any horror movie is like, what is the motivation of the weird thing that is doing the haunting? Like it's always
Yeah.
like a little girl at the end of a dark hallway and then suddenly she's right in your face, and it's like, what's her motivation? Like she can teleport, she's a monster, a ghost, she's haunting you, she wants to make you scared. Like does she want to kill you? Why not just sneak up on you? Why not, like there's so many other, it's like, is your life at stake? Is it not? Like it's and it's like, can you run, like can some amount of running and being scared and fighting back save you in that situation, like from this paranormal like
Right.
ghost or whatever? And yeah, it's just like I'm always interested in, like I never really watch enough, I never watch any horror movies, so I never see if any of them are like addressing that question in a satisfying way of like, the thing that's haunting you, like just figure out what it wants and then
Mm.
that's it. Like yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always,
Yeah. I
it's
feel
always
like
weird.
yeah, it's like like good horror like communicates stuff more in depth of like, or I guess there's some like really good quote about I think it's about the movie Spirited Away. Do you know that movie?
Yeah,
Studio Ghibli one.
yeah.
Um,
Another one I'm like meaning to watch, but yeah, again, I don't have like enough priming to finally sit down and watch movies like that.
oh yeah, yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I think my favorite one of those is Princess Mononoke, but I also really love that one. But
Mhm.
it's like there's a film critic guy talking about it uh, somewhere, and he was saying like the best movies are like they're either like a dream or a puzzle.
Huh.
Um, where like Spirited Away is like a dream, where it's like nothing quite makes sense, but it like it the dream logic of it makes sense, where it's like the it maps to how this is my interpretation of that, but like it mapping it to like how humans like feel and uh, you like it emotionally resonates. Where it's so I feel like my interpretation is like movies can either do that or they can uh, be like a puzzle where it's like it 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 makes it goes into that depth of like, okay, who is this, little girl at the end of the hall, and like why, what happened to her, why is she
Right,
like taking these actions, and like and where it can resonate less is like when movies try to split the difference or when they like don't do one of those things very well. uh
right.
but yeah, I just watched last night uh this movie, I saw the TV Glow. um
Yeah,
have you heard of that one?
that one, somehow encountered reviews, and it was about like the trans experience, and so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
made, I'm interested in voice, like stories and voices like that. Uh, and then I think sometimes I'll put those movies on a list and I almost try to like collect passively like information about them until I understand enough, like what frame of mind should I go into this with, and then I can like watch it and and appreciate it. But I feel, especially if I'm not like told some of the themes, I feel like I won't like connect with the film because it's not necessarily like speaking to me. So then I always feel like I want to hear from the people that really were moved by it, and then I want to sort of see it through their eyes when I'm like watching it, like think about what they told me was me. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I feel like it's like it's something where like I finished the movie and then immediately like went to YouTube and I was like, okay,
right.
explain things to me, because it's like I was like 50% of this went over my head. But even with that, I think it's just incredibly good movie. I thought it was really really beautiful. And I was worried I was gonna be like scared, but there was no like jump scares or anything. Like, uh, I was like fine. um, but yeah, I feel like that movie like it's like God damn, like the ways it communicates emotions, it's just like pure dream and just uh like the choices being made for how some of those scenes, I was just like blown away. I thought, that's like where I feel like horror can like really uh, communicate things better than other genres, maybe. Um, yeah, it was good. Would
Yeah, I'll
recommend
have
it.
to. Yeah, I would love to like incorporate some of the like because horror, like it activates like if you're really scared, like activates your whole like body and nervous system, and then makes you like really like hyper, concentrated. Like it brings you into the film, I guess, because it
Yeah,
like our mind, our minds do like the flight or fight, and they become like hyper aware, and we like don't we forget about other things we're concentrating on and like get kind of absorbed in that moment with the horror. And I would love to like learn a bit from that and just apply it to like an adjacent space of like uncanny uncanny spaces, whatever they're called, like the back room sort of style spaces, like oh yeah,
liminal.
liminal. Yeah,
Yeah,
I want like zen liminal, like yeah, I want to create like environments that bring that like intensity, but sort of have like a little bit of a guarantee that like it's not going to be horror. It's going to be
yeah,
just like it's going to be like the place that you're in just before the horror, and you sort of have like a guarantee that you kind of trust that there isn't going to be like a little girl at the end of the hallway, but you're just going to
yeah.
be like in that hallway like ready for something, but that never arrives.
Right.
And then
Because
use
that's
yeah
like
like
when you're most
yeah.
like in it. Yeah.
That would be such a great, like I just feel like a haunted house that in every way like there's like a like the girl from The Ring like television
Uh-huh.
TV, but like you can approach and like the static gets louder and you like crawl through, but like the girl's never there, and like just all there could be all these environments and things that are like just very like makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck, but there's no but like the thing that's going to attack you is never there, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just like moving through the spaces where usually these encounters take place, but the encounters don't happen, and then just over time like almost like talking yourself down and just being like I'm just going to feel relaxed in these places like in a dark basement and stuff, and then just when the monster shows up then I'll be scared, but until that happens I'll just like all my senses going off like are unnecessary or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because it's like I wonder. Yeah, it's like if you knew you weren't there were no monsters in this game and you were not going to be jump scared at any
Yeah.
time or anything. Like, I wonder if it like would still
Yeah,
have any effect. Like, if you would just be like, oh, like, you
it's
know?
so funny too because like you already know that it's a game first up, so there
Uh,
already is no reason almost, which is
yeah,
funny. It's like all. Yeah, it's like, but yeah, further, it's a good point that further, yeah, if you sort of could guarantee the player like there's no jump scares. Uh, but I remember one time I put on like there's like this video on YouTube where like a barber is like cutting your hair or something, and it's like all spatial audio. And so you can put on headphones and like it really sounds like he's talking to you on the left and the right, and the scissors are like spatially
Uh-huh.
located and stuff. And then, but I was so sure that like that was gonna be like a jump scare audio video where like it goes into horror or something that like I couldn't, like I just like kind of took the headphones off and like listened to it from a distance and skipped a bit like to check the ending and stuff. Cause I felt so like if you get immersed and it's like you're there getting your hair cut, it feels like you're so vulnerable to like, as soon as you let your guard down, they could do anything, with the hearing. So I
Right.
just felt like I could not. Yeah, it was like there's nothing they could have done to like build trust because I would have thought they're like lulling me into relaxing so they could like jump scare.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. It's like too feel too vulnerable in that state. Immersed.
That's funny
Yeah.
though, that concept of
Yeah.
like a game that's a haunted house. You could even put like a character in the game that's like your friend, and they are like, yes, this is a haunted house that you're gonna enter, but like the special thing is there's no monsters here. But like in every other way, it would be creepy, and you just wouldn't know. Like you'd sort of be moving through the game, like who can you trust, and how when would you feel like okay, I don't think they're gonna like. You'd always be like the moment you think it's not gonna happen, it would happen. So then, yeah, it would just be. It's funny that there's nothing you can do to like reassure someone almost in
Yeah.
some way.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I think of like there's that game. I don't remember. It's like about houses. It's like sort of just like walk around and there's these tape recordings talking about different rooms of this house and like sort of describing them in horrific terms as like a living being.
Huh.
And I forget. I'm gonna look. It's by a
Oh
kitty
yeah,
horror show. You know what I'm talking
I think
about?
I remember hearing about. Yeah,
Uh,
some game
oh,
that's really scary. That's
Anatomy.
just a regular house.
Yeah, yeah,
And what's
yeah.
it called?
Anatomy. Um, but it's like it's interesting, like because it's like uh, maybe I'm referencing something rotten again, but yeah, because they did talk about it, but it's like at least on like the first couple playthroughs, I think like there are no jump scares or monsters or anything. Um, but like Jacob Geller was like, "Oh, I think this is the scariest game I've ever played," and like, uh, but then I played it a little bit and I was like, "It's good." Like I think it's really good, but I think just the fact of me knowing that like I wasn't,
Right.
nothing was gonna happen
Yeah.
exactly, like it made it less scary. Like I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like you kind of need that edge of like not being sure.
Yeah, that's an interesting space to explore. Like there's a meta game going on almost.
Right. It's interesting stuff. Yeah, I felt like, and yeah, it's like that's what I want anyway. It's like I don't want to be jump scared. Like I just want like the psychological stuff. Like with this, I saw the TV glow. I never even felt like afraid exactly. Like I just felt entranced the whole time, and
Right.
like it's
That's
like
good. I feel like that means they're using horror like really artfully.
yeah, agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like pure. Yeah.
very artfully done. Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
form
that
of
might
it.
be that does resonate with what it's almost like they may have done what was saying a minute ago, like just like taking the like learning from horror but not using it as horror, like using the techniques for other things. It feels like
Right.
they made like a very like compelling trancing film by maybe they've learned something from horror, but they didn't use any of the cheap techniques or the direct techniques. They just like used the second order properties of horror to like draw in the viewer.
Yeah, I think that's totally true. Like, yeah, it's not like meant to like. yeah, to scare you in that way. It's just like meant to like make you like really pay attention and communicate like an experience. In this case of like basically just like dysphoria, and it's just like incredibly compelling. Like, uh, and yeah, and in the fact that there is like supernatural stuff that you're like never really sure about, and it kind of like I feel like that gives it an extra edge where you're like you're never like sure what's going to happen because there's like no with like the supernatural elements, like there's no guarantee of anything. It's
Yeah.
kind of like yeah, like yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's really really well done.
Well, yeah, those are all good call outs, all that stuff. I feel like I'll keep ruminating on this video tutorial game idea. I'll try to make it. I want to. It's almost like it motivates me more to make the tutorial if I can add something to it. So all these ideas we've called it. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
watch some of these movies and just end up trying to like pull some inspiration or something.
Nice. Yeah. I've been I've been really binging all these like movies I've been trying to get to and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to tonight try to pull in a train map of San Francisco into my game. That's going to be my goal.
Oh, neat.
If I
That'll be
can
cool.
actually see how it looks in game, if it resembles it at all.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I'll see you next time then.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, actually, let me just check. So I'm gonna be out of town, I think, sometime next week. Yeah, I'm currently probably leaving on Wednesday next week. So, yeah, tentatively, I'm down to talk on Tuesday.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. All right. See ya.
Bye.